Hey guys, it's Will here, and this is Will and Elise, and today I am playing Minecraft, obviously, and this time I'm not going to be destroying anything, no. I'm going to be building, who knows, the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland in California. Anyway, if you, do, that's what I'm going to be making today. I'm going to be, I'm going to pretty much build the ride, and I'm pretty much just going to be building the ride. Or it's either I'm doing that or I'm creating the Amityville horror house, if any of you know what that is. Make sure it's in creative. Create new world. Oh, crap, I forgot to do something. I forgot to make it a flat land, like with all hills. Hopefully yeah, I need to. Okay, so options. Leave. I don't even want to save it. I kind of have to. I don't want to. I'll just delete it and then I'll make it. Single player. Yes. The Haunted Mansion. Delete. Yes. Create new world. Haunted houses. Let's call it that. I'm either going to be doing the Haunted Mansion or the Amityville Horror Mansion. No, not mansion, just house. Default super flat customize presence. Yes. Done. Yes. Yes. Done. Okay, I'm checking everything. You know what? I'm pretty sure that's everything. Let's create the new world. Oh, and also, if you see me look over to the side, like where I'm looking right now, it's because I'm watching the recording as I'm recording it, which is really confusing. But I have the Minecraft game which I'm playing right now, and then the recorder I'm using, I'm watching it to make sure everything's working alright. So yeah, that's just, I'm going to see, and since I can see it, I can adjust the webcam, because I could tell you couldn't see me before, so. Okay, so anyway, enough yapping, let's play, I want to do the Amityville, but that's too easy. I've done it so many times and I know how to do it pretty well. And it does look really cool, but I don't know how to do the Haunted Mansion all that well. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do the Amityville horror, because I know how to do that. And I'll know I'll need glass for the windows. Oh, and the glowstone is for the forever who knows what it looks like, there are the windows on the third floor, like in the attic, that look like eyes, and that's what that's for, to make it look creepy. Here's a glass. I was searching for it when it was right there the whole time. And that's it for now. I'll need more, but that's it for now. I meant to do that. Okay. I am still learning the controls. You thought I'd know the controls better by now. Okay, so, I'm used to playing the Xbox version. Okay, so window. Window. There are 4 windows, so you got that, and you have to have a space in between the windows for the just because you don't want the windows all together, because it's not like that on the actual house. The windows are separated. I may or may not have a picture of the original house on the thumbnail, but I probably will if I remember, just so you guys can see what the original house looks like. Oh, and by the way, interesting story about it. This is a real house, by the way. We don't know if the things that okay. So the Amityville house was based on a true story. I'll go ahead and tell you the story while I'm doing this. So what happened was, there was this guy, and he went around and killing his whole family, and at first you wouldn't think anything of it, you wouldn't think that that's not much, but the thing that's really weird about it that people noticed was that when he was going around and killing these people, he had a really big rifle gun, and not one person in the neighborhood heard it. Because this is in Amityville, New York, or no, Rhode Island. Sorry, Rhode Island or Long Island. I always get the two confused. I'm sure people who actually live up there are getting mad at me, because it's you should know the difference, but since I just don't, so it's one of the 2 islands up near New York. That's all I know. So anyway, so yeah, the towns up in the houses up in the Amityville neighborhood are really close, because the yards go back instead of wide. Like, they're really long and they back up into the river. And I'm telling you this because somebody should have heard the gunshots going off with how crowded the neighborhood is. And nobody didn't, which is one of the many reasons why people to this day still believe that the hauntings of, like the Amityville horror hauntings, are real. So yeah. Okay, so back to the story. So, guy killed his whole family. He went to court. He said he was possessed, and then the court was like, "You're crazy. You actually want us to believe it?" And the witnesses around the neighborhood came up, and every one of them said they didn't hear it. And then the court was like, "Okay, that's a little weird." And so that happened, and he's still in jail today, by the way, and he was found guilty, of course, because when he was the only family member who was in the house when the murders happened and survived, so there was no possible way it wasn't him. And, and I think, I'm not sure, hey Zoe, and I think that people went back to, try to, because back then they didn't have DNA sampling, because it was back in the early 80s when this happened, or maybe even early 70s. But I don't remember, but it was way before they had DNA testing, and since they have that today, they tried to reprove it, and they found out that it really was him. So yeah, so he's still in jail. And anyway, so all that happened, and a year later, this family named the Lutz family moved in, and there was a couple with two kids and a little girl. The little girl was the youngest one. Hey Zoe. So anyway, so they moved in, and the first thing they had done was they had a preacher come in and bless the house, because I remember they were Catholic, and so that's what you always do when you move into a house, when you're Catholic. So anyway, so the preacher walked into the house, and he started walking around, with the holy water and stuff, blessing the house, and when he went into this room on the second floor right off the stairs that was their sewing room, and it's one of the most famous rooms in the house because there's, hey mom, hey Zoe, because only, huh? Oh, okay. So yeah, anyway, okay, so the preacher was in the house, he was blessing it, and he was in the sewing room, and it's one of the most famous rooms because many years later, after all this happened, somebody went in to investigate the house, and they went up to the famous sewing room, and they took a picture, and there was a little boy standing next to the railing right in front of the sewing room, and if you look up Amityville Horror Ghost Boy, you should be able to find it, but, it's a black and white picture only because they were using night vision when they took the picture. It wasn't because it was that long ago. So anyway, so yeah, that's about the sewing room, and he went up to that room, and when he was doing it, he heard a voice a bunch of different times saying "get out," and so yeah, so I don't remember the story that much, and I'm trying to think about building it, so that's why I'm stuttering so much. So the preacher walked in, blessed the house, a voice told him to get out, and the family was outside at the time, because you remember this house was sitting on the edge of a lake, or a river, whatever you want to call it, so, they were outside, and the guy was inside, and, they didn't know the preacher came, and later that day, they tried to call him, and when he picked up the phone line suddenly went off completely, and, they couldn't figure out why, because it would only do that when they were trying to call the preacher. So yeah. And so they moved in, and that's when things first started happening. But, what was I saying? So yeah, that's when things started happening, but at that point... Okay. But at that point, they didn't really think anything much of it. They thought he just missed it or something. And he got real sick after that, but, they just thought he was just getting regular sick, so, again, they didn't think anything of it, and, okay, I'll be honest, I don't really remember much of, how the story went, especially, I don't remember it in order, but I do remember a lot of what happened, just, like I said, not in order. So I remember what happened was, I think, later that same day, and also, I'm going off of the movie, the original Amityville horror movie, not off of the book, because there is a book written and I have read it, but it's been a long time since I've read it and I forgot most of it. So anyway, what was I thinking? What was I saying? Man, I keep doing this. I keep forgetting what I was gonna say. So anyway, this is the front of the sunroom. And let's see. Oh, there goes Zoe again. So yeah. I'm gonna build the front first, and then there's gonna be a part 2 where I build the rest of it. There's gonna be a part 1 where I build the front part of it and make it look really nice. There's gonna be a part 2 where I build the inside of it, and so yeah, part 1 is the front side of it, part 2 is the outside, and then part 3 is going to be the inside. And then I may or may not remake this house in the Nether, because I have a world on the Xbox where I made the Amityville horror house, and it was actually really good. Like I'm sure the inside was not accurate, but I know the outside was really good. Zoe, hey Zoe, sorry, hey, what, Zoe? Zoe, I see you. Hi. So yeah, you already know we're watching a dog Zoe for a weekend. No, not for a week. We're actually taking her back tomorrow. So yeah, what else is there about the Amityville horror that I didn't tell y'all? There was one part that in the movie that was really cool. Like, it wasn't really that scary because I knew it was fake, and the original movie was made in like late 70s, early 90s, only a few years after the original story happened. And so yeah, anyway, there's one scene that was pretty good for its time. It was where the mom went into the little girl's house. The little girl's name was Missy, and she had this friend. She had this imaginary friend she was obsessed with named Missy. No, named Jody. Sorry, Missy was the little girl's name. And so there was one night where the mom walked in, and Missy was like, "You scared away Jody," and she was like, "Jody? Who's Jody?" And she's like, "My little friend. You've met him." And she was like, "I don't think I have." And she was like, "Well, do you want to meet him?" And the mom was like, "Sure. Zoe, it's alright." Anyway, so the mom was like, "Sure, I want to meet him." And she was like, "Okay, just look out the window." And she looked out like, "Okay, whatever." And there was actually eyes looking back at her. And then she like remembers seeing the eyes like look at her, and then it jumped. Then it seemed like the eyes just floated down. And actually, Missy's room would have been right about this window. Like, I remember seeing a lot of blueprints of the house and like watching the movie, so I remember where a lot of the rooms are. Like, yeah, that's Missy's room right there. I need to make it even, so there's one block separating. I mean, there's one block in between this and this. So, is that right? Yeah, that's right. So yeah, anyway, and the weird thing is, the mom went outside to see what that was, because there was a cat that was living around there, and they thought it was just a cat because it, so yeah, they thought it was a cat, and when she went outside, and she even saw footprints, like, leading from, like, her room was right there, and it looks like whatever it was jumped from that window all the way down here, and then walked out that way, because the road would have been right about there, and, gosh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, and there were footprints going there, but the thing was, it wasn't cat's footprint, like, it was actual pig footprints, because when Missy drew it, it was a pig, like, she kept saying that Missy was a pig, and so yeah, there were footprints that belonged to a pig, and the weird thing was, and it was snowing at that point, because since this was in New York, you know, it's always snowing in New York, so, gosh. So yeah, and there were footprints in the snow, and when she went out she followed them to see if she could find something, and she went out to the road, and she saw the footprints kept going into the road, but there was nothing there. She saw footprints forming right in front of her, and that really freaked her out. And I think that was like the day before they moved, because they only last 28 days. And like, if you've ever seen a movie, they always say that they only last 28 days in the house, and they were actually right. Like, records prove that they only stayed 28 days in the house. It's looking pretty good so far. And again, I have done this many times before, so I kind of know what I'm doing. And then that's where it starts. This is the window that looks like eyes. Okay, that's pretty good actually. I may want to move over a little bit more. Move it over more. It's actually looking really good. Okay. Let's add the glowing eyes. 'Cause, yeah, I mean, if you ever seen the house, the original house before they changed it, and I mean, the house is still up to date, and people still live in it because it is a house. Um, but the people who lived there a while ago changed it up because they were tired of all the people coming and visiting there. And I remember watching a documentary on it one time because it was like on TV, and I was really into it back then. So I just, was like, why not? I'm gonna watch it. So, and they said the new family who moved in right after the Lutz family moved out, and they said that nothing happened. The only hauntings going on were the people who would not leave their house alone. Like, they even said on Christmas Eve there were these guys who painted Demon House on their door on Christmas Eve. Like, and they only lasted a little bit too, but not because of hauntings, but like I said, because the people kept messing with it. So yeah. And people, if you look it up on YouTube, like Amityville Horror House, you'll see tons and tons of people who are trespassing on that property looking at the house. And I remember there was one time after that family moved out, so it was the, I don't remember the family who lived there first who had the killings, but there was that family, the Lutz family, then that one. And then after that, the house was on the market for a long time, because since they were, like, they were talking about in the documentary how people were vandalizing it and how it was supposedly haunted, that of course nobody wanted to move in, so the house was on the market for a while, and every time they had an open house, there were huge lines of people who would just line up to see this house. And I remember seeing pictures of it, like, because I read books about it a lot, and I was saying, oh yeah, and they were, the first opening they had for the house, there were, like, almost a 1.5 mile long line of people wanting to get in just to see the Amityville Horror House, to say that they've walked through the original house. And, yeah. I mean, that would have been pretty cool if I was there, but, like, I don't even know, but I'm pretty sure people still live there today, but, yeah, I don't know, but somebody eventually bought that house. But I think it'd be cool to own the Amityville Horror House, because, like, if I owned it, I would have it, I would open up tours for people to come explore the house, and I wouldn't even live there. I would own that house and save up a bunch of money from the tours to go buy another one, live in that one, and then keep the Amityville Horror House, and just keep having tours through it. Yeah, so that looks pretty good, actually. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be right back